Breaking news this hour from Russia. A passenger plane has crashed near Moscow. Russian state media say there are no survivors. The plane disappeared off the radar shortly after takeoff from the local airport. It was destined for Orsk, a city in the southern mountains of Russia, but it crashed early into its flight. CNN senior international correspondent Fred Pleitkin is at the crash site and he joins me now live. What are the details, Fred, as you understand them?
Hi, Becky. Yeah, we're in Stepanovskoye, which is about 60 kilometers outside of Moscow. So this plane apparently took off from the Domodedovo airport, which is one of the major airports in Moscow, and then made a left turn. And shortly after that, crashed right here where I am right now. I want to just step out of your way a little bit and show you, because the recovery efforts, as we now have to say, are in full swing here. As you can see, there's a lot of fire trucks, there's a lot of police also. It's actually quite difficult for the authorities to bring enough of their forces that they have here into position, because they only have very small streets leading to these small villages. The details that we've gotten is that this plane apparently crashed onto a field here in this village. The Russian authorities at this point in time are not saying yet what they believe is the cause of the incident. They said it could be a technical malfunction, it could be pilot error, or it could be the weather. As you maybe can see, it is snowing quite heavily in Moscow today. So not clear why this plane came down, but the authorities are saying no one on that plane has survived. Becky.
Stand by, Fred. I want to get some weather in here. Russia's been blitzed, of course, extremely heavy snow for days. I want to get a sense of the weather conditions where the crash happened with CNN meteorologist Alison Chinchar. Visibility reportedly poor. What are conditions like and forecast to be in the area?
Yeah, that's right, Becky. So unfortunately, at both the time of takeoff for the flight and also at the time of the crash, weather around Moscow was incredibly poor. You had not only snow being reported falling at that time, but yes, very low clouds, very poor visibility, and all of those combined do not make for very good weather conditions when you are dealing with flight. Here is a look at the forecast radar. We do expect those snow showers to eventually recede and push back out of the area, likely not until we get much closer into the day Monday. So you still have several hours to go. The unfortunate part, Becky, too, is that temperatures are expected to drop over the next several days. That may also hinder some of the recovery efforts as well.
That's the scene so far as weather is concerned. Fred, let me bring you back up. And I want to get for our viewers now some recent air crashes involving Russian airlines. What sort of plane was this? And what is airline safety like in Russia?
Yeah, this was a fairly small airline, Becky. It's called Saratov Airlines, and the plane itself is actually quite interesting. It's an Antonov 148, which is made both in the Ukraine and here in Russia in a town called Voronezh. So it is a Russian-made airliner. And the most recent that we've gotten is that apparently this specific airplane was manufactured in 2010 in Russia at the Voronezh airplane factory there. What we need to say about this plane is that the Antonov 148 is a small regional airliner. It seats somewhere between 65 and 88 people, depending on the configuration. It's got two engines. It is a plane, however, that is quite modern. It is a modern, newly developed airplane that only went into service, this very model, in 2009, and the specific aircraft in 2010. So it would have all the new safety features, a lot of it digital as well as the cockpit is concerned. So this is certainly not an old airliner, and also as far as the safety record of this airline is concerned, unclear to see that they have a very bad safety track record. That's certainly something that we can't at this point in time say. So right now it's very difficult to speculate as to what exactly might have caused this crash. The authorities, again, are saying they're looking at several different variants of what might have happened. At the same time, of course, expressing their condolences. Vladimir Putin has expressed his condolences not only to those who lost loved ones, but also to the folks here of this village who, of course, had this awful thing happen right in their neighborhood just a couple of hours ago, Becky.
And you've just been standing away from the camera so we can have a look at what's going on behind you. If you can do that again, Fred, as you explain, emergency services, it's reported really battling with these conditions. How difficult is it for them? And just remind us, how close to Moscow is this?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to pan around again a little bit. You're absolutely right, and you know the conditions certainly are quite difficult. I mean, we drove out here. It's actually interesting, Becky, because I landed at the very airport that this plane took off from only about less than an hour before we landed, and I can say that all these weather reports are true. It was pretty difficult to see out the window of the aircraft. You could see there was very low cloud cover and that there's just snow. We pan around a little more, you can see that the snow is not only making it difficult, obviously, for the rescue and recovery folks to work, but it also makes it very difficult to actually get here. Some of the roads almost impassable, obviously very difficult to even clear the snow now, and Moscow really has been blanketed by snow over the past couple of days, really over the past week. And that's certainly something that's making it very difficult. At the same time, of course, we have to say this is Russia, and the authorities here are very much accustomed to working in these kind of conditions. But yet, the terrain that you see here, the fact that this is such a small village simply makes it very, very difficult to, for instance, move police and ambulances in here. You can see the ambulances. It's one very small road, if we pan around, that they're trying to get down and then move those forces into where the crash site is, which is really only a couple of 100 yards from where we are right now. So this is, for the authorities, very, very difficult. And it is fairly close to Moscow. It's about say 60 kilometers south of Moscow, southeast of Moscow. And this plane, of course, the route that it was going to take was also towards the southeast. The town of Orsk, where this plane was supposed to land, is about a 2-hour flight southeast from Moscow, Becky.
So there is some speculation as to the cause of this crash at present. Authorities not releasing any details. Fred, thank you.